Hi, Josh. This is so exciting having you here. Would you mind? I mean, I think pretty much everyone already knows you, but would you mind quickly introducing yourself and your vision and your concepts? This is so exciting.
Hello. Thanks for having me. My name is Josh. You probably know me as Stuffed Wombat from Twitter, where I have spent the last 5 years posting prototypes and GIFs and sometimes even finished games. And there's no real vision. There's just a strong desire to make stuff. And games as a medium is still so new that when I like that there is still like unexplored space, or it feels like there is unexplored space. So I make video games because it's relatively easy to make stuff that feels very exciting to me. Um, yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. I've been not getting paid for that for a long time as well. Currently, I am scratching out a little living with that, and we will see what the future holds for my bank account. It's exciting times.
Before we talk about the future, I would be super excited to hear more about the past. Like, where do you come from? Like, how did you learn game development? How did everything started? Can you tell us a little bit about the history about your game dev career, or of course yourself?
I mean, we can start the game development career at like age 9, I think, but it was all analog for pretty much 10 years after that. Like, I've been hosting pen and paper adventures since I was a very small child. And I've made board games and like various RPG systems and stuff like that as a child and as a teenager. And when I was, I think, 17 or something, a teacher caught me skipping school and forced me to attend a computer science class where they taught Scratch, the from MIT, the software for children, basically. And I picked it up and taught myself how to code with it, and then moved on to different engines and like more complex engines and stuff. And I never got a formal education in game development. I just made a lot of games, like both analog and digital. And I think that sums it up.
Wow. This is interesting, and I mean you're very known also like for your short clips on Twitter. Can you like tell us a little bit about that?
Um, Twitter is complicated. It's I I think I don't know 3 years ago or something, or maybe four. I noticed that when people like my tweets, I feel good about myself, and so I want them to like my tweets a lot. So I changed the way that I develop games, and I changed the way I create stuff, which is and like the focus shifted from making actual games to making GIFs, like little pieces of literal content that people could enjoy. Um, and I got really invested in learning how to create content for social media, which is not the same as like making games. It's kind of related if the content you're making is game dev related, but is really not the same. So I got really obsessed with that, and that's why you know me probably because I got a lot of retweets once. Kind of fucked up. Can I swear?
We are already there, I guess.
Yeah, it's too late now.
So, um, I mean, but not all of your game dev project turned out only as tweets. I mean, a very recent
Yeah.
one was just released on Twitch, on Steam. Sorry, I just wanted to say Twitter. This is what just
No,
happened.
Twitch is like the middle between Twitter and Steam, yeah. Right.
So please tell us everything about that. I really loved that project. I played it myself already. Please tell us everything.
We in October we launched a project called 10MG, which consists of 10 games that are each 10 minutes long. And we put that on Steam for $10, of course. And my it's a group project, so it's like 10 groups of developers. My contribution to that is a game called Always Down, which is examining, how do I explain this? In video games, normally there's binary states. So you either have the key or you don't have the key, or you have the shotgun or you don't have the shotgun. And that's not how real life works, because like change is always gradual and never happens in binary steps. So I made a game that talks about that, basically. The whole game is one continuous development that's 10 minutes long. Yeah. I think that's as good as an explanation as I can like pull out of my sleeve.
That's, yeah, very philosophical. And you,
Yes, my games are very deep. Please write that in the comments. I need that as a validation.
what other projects did you work on recently?
I've been working for the past 3 months on a game called Quamp, which I have picked up again after working on it for a long time in the past. Which it's again a very philosophical game, or philosophical. It's very deep. It features metaphors, and it's a weird mix between an art game and Metroidvania and a platformer, taking place in the world of the 1982 game Table Tennis, which was originally released by a company called Magnavox. So it's a new take on an old classic.
Cool. And I mean, we've talked a lot about the past and what recent projects you were working on. What are your future goals? Where do you see yourself? Like, I'm talking about both the big vision, but also the shorter goals, next games and so on.
Um, Next stuff I'm gonna do. There's people walking by in the background. I hope that doesn't get picked up. Um, the immediate goals are to keep being able to pay rent with making video games or with like video game adjacent work, which means freelancing and teaching and doing workshops and stuff like that, which is great fun so far. So the short-term goals are just basically that. Like I'll probably not directly jump into another big personal project after Quamp. I'll take some time. I'll do some teaching and some stuff, and then in the very long term, I don't know. I have very concrete plans that I maybe don't want to share right now, but they are way too concrete. They're not realizable in the scope that I imagine them now, but they are there.
Yeah, we're excited. It's always interesting to see what you're up to and see your projects and following on Twitter. Um, the next question would be, what advices would you have for young developers and people trying to get into the games industry?
Um, Consider how many people you know who can play the guitar, and then consider how many professional musicians you know, and use that like relationship between those two groups of people as a reference for how valid game development is as a career. It's not impossible. It's just, yeah, it's not like picking up Unity is not gonna directly lead to a stable income. It's quite the opposite actually. But yeah, I mean this is advice. This gets thrown around all the time. It's fucking hard. I would advise you to okay, so something that is maybe a little bit more fresh is to whatever. Okay, look outside of video games. You are if you want to make video games, there's a very high chance that you are deeply invested in certain types of video games and you want to replicate them and you want to replicate the great experiences you had in them. And game development is actually not about recreating like that one great afternoon you had as a 12-year-old kid. It can be, but the working reality of like getting paid and getting stuff done is not related to that. So look outside of video games, look outside of your personal experience, read books, um, go outside, watch the trees, learn from the leaves, and jump through the rivers and stuff like that. That's important.
Oh, that's just beautiful. Very, very deep and philosophical again.
Ah, thanks. That's the yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe the most challenging or maybe an easy question, the last question is how was this year for you? Um, was there anything you struggled with? How did you cope with struggles? And do you have any takeaways for the next years or anything which you are really looking forward in the next year, which should be different?
It's been a good and a horrible year for me. Like I lost my job, then I got it back, then I quit it because I had funding to do so. I lost like a shit ton of money in funding because I fucked up some negotiation contract types of things. But in the end, it's been okay. I don't know. It's like I think some of the stuff that has happened to me this year would have destroyed my ability to function a few years ago. So I like getting hit in the face has shown me that my jaw is now stronger than a few years ago, which is, it's like is it good or bad that I know that now? But overall, it's been quite enjoyable. Um, all of this like stress with the pandemic and the paranoia and the uncertainty and stuff, I have known, like I have lived through that, like just because I'm stupid for myself for a long time. So it doesn't feel that new to me. It still affects me. It's not like I'm immune to it, but it's less there because I have lived in like a crisis situation in my head for a long time. Um, yeah, in the next year, I wanna travel. I wanna do stupid stuff, like not necessarily like see specific places. I just really enjoy going somewhere and getting lost in the process. Like, yeah, I like hitchhiking. I like this kind of like unplanned travel. And it's very much impossible. And I hope that will be possible soon, but who knows? Other than that, I'm looking forward to making some video games and taking weekends, which is probably that's probably the most important thing I learned this year is taking weekends. It's like having 2 days where I do nothing. Just read a boring book or something, or I take a walk. And I don't even think about video games. It's the most amazing thing to ever happen to me, I think. Being able to take time off, like really, really deeply take time off and not care. That's pretty cool.
Josh, thank you so much for your very wise and honest words. And yeah, I think all of us are looking forward to play your future games and good luck to you and your plans. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks. Thanks for having me and thanks for like doing game dev Graz and all of that stuff. Like I wouldn't be here without community organizers like you, but you never get the credit you deserve. So I'm adding that now.
Thank you so much. Oh, bye.
Bye.